Got that one off that point. Come on, you little Bartlett Lake bass. What did he do? Get it on the top of his head? What in the world? Look at that. Look at that. He struck at it but didn't get it. Right on the top of his head. Well, and there you have it. A little jig on top of the head bass. Folks, today we're at Bartlett Lake. We just showed up, middle of the afternoon here. Gonna try to figure out what these bass want. You know, one of the things that's really tough this time of year is trying to figure out, and we are here during late September, but trying to figure out if these bass are eating crawdad or shad. Now here's the deal. A lot of times I figure in the middle of the afternoon, sometimes it's better to throw a jig or something like that when you see the fish starting to slow down. You really have to watch the surface, see if you see anything busting, because if you see fish busting here and there, then they're eating a shad, you know, and you got to go to shad type baits or something. But they're always eating crawdads. A lot of times you can go to these points and throw a big heavy half ounce, well, I call it a heavy, but just a half ounce jig, and just kind of go along and hit some of these points, see if you get bit. Now I'll be honest with you, we pulled up to the first point that I came to, and I actually got bit right as soon as I was just putting everything down. I threw out and I missed the fish. I had him halfway to the boat. So I figured, oh, they must be eating jigs. Maybe we'll get lucky. And then I just came to the second point and it just got bit again, whether he slapped at it, whatever happened. I can't believe I hooked him on a weedless jig like that, but sometimes stuff like that happens. But jigs are a lot of fun to throw. You grab yourself a heavy action rod. There's a bite. Oh, he came off. Ah. Should have let him take it a little more, I guess. Yeah, he boogered up the trailer right onto the end of the hook. So jigs are fun to throw, but a lot of times I like to throw the weedless ones like this. That way when you get around this rock, you can kind of work it around the rock. I spread the little weed guard out a little bit. I'm just throwing a little orange and pumpkin type color jig, half ounce, little compact dude right there, and it works really good. And throwing it on 17-pound test line, but you throw it out there. A lot of times if you just dead stick it and let it fall to the bottom, you can feel those bites, and then you just set down and get the hook set in them, but that didn't happen there. But the main thing with the jig is keeping it on the bottom. And sometimes you can swim a jig, get a shad colored one, or swim the jig, but right now I'm trying to imitate the crawdad, so I'm kind of popping it over the rocks, letting it sit there. This is a slow technique, and when things slow down during the middle of the day, this is sometimes what you have to do. They'll get down there in those rocks, find this pebbled rock, find any kind of rock, and work the rock banks. See if you can get one of them fish to come out and eat your jig. I've got a little topwater here. If we see anything chasing, we can go after those too. So we'll just wait and see what happens. Like I said, I just got here. So one of the things about just getting here in the middle of the afternoon at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you automatically think, oh, it's gonna be a slow bite. It ain't always that way. There's been times I've come out here and caught topwater fish right off the bat, but I don't see a whole lot going on. When you don't see a whole lot going on, a lot of times just slow down, hit your points. You know, we're in that area where early in the day, they'll go up into the pockets, all that stuff, maybe chasing shad, and then later in the day, come back out to the points till that water really cools down. When it really starts cooling down and you notice a temperature drop, then a lot of times they'll get on that shad bite and you'll have a lot of fun. Oh, there he is. I got him on that El Chapo. Oh, he's got the back hook too. I gotta be careful. Just a little guy. I saw some fish chasing shad right there on the point. I just got that bite on. That's why you kind of have to have your top waters ready. I'll tell you, I put on this El Chapo because I knew it was going to be a bit breezy today. We were going to have a little bit of wind. This El Chapo is a lot. It's a lot of fun to throw. It's made by Berkeley, and kind of one of those whopper plopper type of deals, but this thing's got a really good noise, and the action on it's really good. And just get yourself a shad pattern and you throw it out there and just start reeling it in slow, just enough to get that thing to popping, and you can hear that thing coming across the water. got that one, swim jig. I was swimming that thing in. Ooh, that tells me something. Swimming it in? Really? I think we're gonna make a change right now. Look at that, folks. I was swimming that bait in and he hit it. I'm gonna make a little bit of a change and see if we can't, you know, we've been throwing this little guy on the bottom. I'm getting hit every so often. I'll make a quick little change with this and see what happens. Maybe we'll get a bigger bite, maybe we'll catch some more fish on it. But I'm telling you right now, Bartlett, every so often you'll see them blast in the middle. And later this evening, it's all about timing a lot of times when you come fishing, you know. It's not just about techniques, all this, that. Timing is everything. And so, man, you could come out here hoping to get your topwater bite in the afternoon or whatever, but man, they might just start moving up in the evenings, try a little bit in the afternoon, but they are busting here and there, which tells me they're active. And so reeling this jig in just now, catching that fish, tells me quite a bit, and I'm gonna make a quick change and see what happens. Got him on that swim jig. Yep. Little swim jig action. Hello, little baby. We made the change. That was the first cast out there. Little swim jig. When you know they're going after the shad, figured I'd go after that and see what happens. There's a lot of different baits out there you can throw. Different kinds of swim baits, things like that, but I'll tell you, bringing that jig in told me to try something. So I figured, well, let's give it a shot. Throw this out there, same thing on my jig rod. Kind of let it float down a little bit and reel it in slow. Got him. Little guy. Can you believe how little that little guy is? Right on that point, just dragging it off the bottom. You know, the ticket with this so far, it's only been a little bit, a couple of casts, just to let it fall to the bottom and to just pop it and start reeling it off the bottom. And when they feel that over the rocks and stuff, they crush it. That little guy tried to eat that whole big swim jig. It's amazing. Oh no, he's still there. Little guy, right across that point. I just changed my bait with that little bit of breeze blowing and decided I'll go to a crankbait. And by golly, we got us a crankbait fish. Oh, gotcha. Got to be careful of them sharp hooks. I'll tell you what, it's been one here, one there. The minute you think you got it figured out, you don't. That's why it's important to have more than one bait on the deck. And just keep thinking, constantly keep thinking about how you can better yourself to catch some fish, figure out what these fish are getting. That was my first cast with that crankbait, by the way. I went to the Berkeley Dredger, the small one, and figured I'd just go through here, a little bit of breeze, a little bit of cloud cover, perfect crankbait conditions here at Bartlett, and we'll just go down the bank and see if we can't catch a few. And it's funny because every bait I've picked up today so far, whether it be the jig, the swim jig, the choppo, everything I've caught, it seems like on the first or second cast of the day with it, and then everything went downhill from there. Oh, there's one that hit pretty good. That one feels like a little nicer fish. Oh yeah, that's a good crankbait fish there. Don't you come off there. Right off that point. And see, he ate it. That image that they put on that crankbait is so awesome. Come on. Boy, they sure do an awesome job making that bait look like a little shad. All right, we'll let him go. Now I caught him off the edge of the point. I'm digging rock. Now here's the deal. So far, all the fish I've caught doing this have been, I gotta feel the bottom for sure. So I'm kind of hitting off these points, getting up shallow a little bit, and I'm kind of moving it slow and digging the rock down there. It's popping off a rock and they're hitting it. I don't see any more fish busting shad out in the area no more. We lost our wind, but we got cloud cover. Tell you what, it makes it tough when you're out fishing. We've pretty much been the only boat out here today, and that's unusual for Bartlett. Maybe somebody got the memo. Somebody got the memo and said, hey man, the fish is a little bit weak out there right now, but you can always catch them. And if you get a cloud cover, normally it's pretty good. You know, evening hours, you can get on a pretty good little topwater bite or something, but maybe we'll see that before it gets too late. But we've struggled. We've caught, you know, fish, but it hasn't been lights out for us yet. We've tried different baits. I've tried big ones. I've tried throwing the crawdad type stuff, but when you're seeing them chase shad as much as I was, it was hard for me to stay on the crawdad type baits. You kind of want to get out there and get on some fish. Oh, there's a good one. There's one on that spinnerbait. Oh, he's a little bit better fish. He hit it like a freight train. Come here, dude. He hit it like a freight train, that little guy. My goodness. You know, we came up to the dam area. I thought, man, maybe I can get lucky and catch a big one off these rocks. And you know, I like to throw big spinnerbaits off these rocks here at the dam. I've been pretty successful on it. Big old 1 ounce persuader spinnerbait right there. I put me a little Yamamoto grub trailer right there on that beast, and just throw it out there and slow roll it, and he hit it. Maybe I'll luck out and get another one. But boy, with this bait, I'm just clanking the bottom, you know, throwing it on 17-pound test line, just clanking the bottom, getting it off the rocks, trying for a little bit bigger fish. You know, we've thrown everything in the tackle box at them today, and we've caught fish. There's one there. And we've caught fish, but we're not catching the giant fish I want to catch. And you know what's funny is you always talk about, oh, drop shots. I'm not going to throw a drop shot. Well, look what a big spinnerbait catches you. Look what the crankbait's catching you. Look what a big old swim jig today's been catching you. Ain't nothing wrong with that drop shot. You'll catch those too. Hey folks, for my tip of the week, one thing about throwing this big spinnerbait, especially on these boulders, there's two things to always remember. One thing that's very important. When you throw the bait out there and you're letting it fall, always kind of keep your line kind of tight. That way it doesn't get stuck behind a rock and you have a chance to get it out. If it falls there with slack line, a lot of times it'll catch up underneath a rock, and then when you go to pull it, you might be snagged and lose the bait. The other thing that's very important is anytime you're pulling it off a big boulder down there and it's kind of sticking a little bit and you pop it loose, you just flared the bait and you made the blades flare. And when you do that, when the blades actually flare like that, a lot of times you'll get your strike. So anytime you throw out there and I'm pulling over a rock, I'm gonna pop the rod tip just a little bit and then let it stall a second and just keep kind of winding slow, but let it stall just a second down by the rock. Because a lot of times that fish will see that bait flare out of there and it'll come right out and hit it. If you're pulling it really fast thinking, oh, I got snagged, a lot of times they won't hit it. But if you pop it after getting it off the rock and just let that bait flare a little bit, you got a better chance of getting some big fish, bigger bites. And that's one of my tickets to catching fish, believe it or not, off these big boulders. Oh, there's one that hit. There's one that hit. A little better fish. Those deeper fish are a little better. There we go. That's a little bit better fish there. They're still not giants like I want to catch, but it's a little Bartlett Lake bass. Come here, dude. Come here. Look what he did to my spinnerbait. I shouldn't let him do that. Oh well. That's why I like that thin wire. It vibrates really good. But he tore that up. This is when it's time to retie. No kinks in the line, baby. Just kind of slowly bend that. You know, that's one thing about a spinnerbait, especially when you get the light wire. Eventually you're gonna bust the wire. There's just no way of getting around it. You use it enough, catch enough fish on it, you're gonna bust the wire. But in saying that, very important when you go to put it back into shape and tune it, that you do it slow, because the metal will pop. So you wanna really bend it back really slow, and that way you can get the most use out of it you can. But I'll tell you, like right there, look at my line right there. It's absolutely useless. We'll have to break off, retie, which is probably a good thing. That's our third bass in this one little spot. And so we'll retie. Oh, there's one. I just got bit again. They like that spinnerbait. Get up here. I won't even mess with him. There you go. Look at that, big old spinnerbait, little fish. I'll tell you what a day it's been here at Bartlett Lake. I've had fun. We got here around 1 o'clock, 1:30, somewhere in there, and you know, tried a little this, a little that. You know, we tried everything in the box today almost, and still caught them. And you know, you never know. The one thing I didn't pull out was the drop shot. I never pulled out any light lining type stuff. I wanted to try some of this bigger reaction type stuff and see if we could nail a couple big ones, but you know, hey, we gave it a good effort, a valiant effort, that's for sure. I've had fun today. Hey, thanks for joining us on the show. Don't forget, pick up some of these spinnerbaits. You'll have a lot of fun on them. You know what? Fall and spinnerbaits just naturally go together. It's hard to beat, I'm telling you. Thanks for joining us on the show. I'm Johnny Johnson. I think I got a little bite right there. Now, see, that's what I'm talking about, folks.